Okay, let me tell you a story of a man. When he was a boy, his motto in life was he always thought that happiness came from success, and to be successful meant to be wealthy. And so his motto since he was young was to be wealthy. So in school he did very well, had good grades, good academic achievements. Later on he went to become a medical doctor. By his mid-30s he already was driving a Ferrari and he was a millionaire. And it was at the pinnacle of his career, the peak of his career, that one day he went to his doctor, and his doctor told him that he had stage 4 lung cancer. And that was when his whole world came crashing down, and he realized that money cannot buy happiness, or money is worth nothing at that point of time. Okay? The name of the man is Dr. Richard Teo. He's an aesthetic surgeon who recently passed away in 2012. And before he passed away, when he found out he had stage 4 cancer, he went to give a talk to the medical students at one of the medical students. And the medical students asked him, if you had known you were going to die, if you had known you were going to have stage 4 cancer, would you have lived your life any differently? And he said, yes, he would have lived his life a lot differently. And when he ended his speech, he said, the thing is, everyone knows that they are going to die. Everyone knows they are going to die, right? Yeah. But the truth is, nobody actually believes it. Because if we believed we were going to die, we would have lived our life a lot differently. And so my question that I want to ask all of you is, if you all knew you were going to die, how would you have lived your life differently? How many more people would you have helped? What kind of a legacy would you have left behind? How would you have given your gift to the world? If you knew you were going to die, how would you have lived your life differently? Let me tell you another story of this woman. She was a nurse, and she knew nothing about business. But one thing that she knew is that she wants to help. She wants to help people. She wants to help people improve the quality of their life, the quality of their health. And so one day God told her to start this business. So even though she was a nurse, she knew nothing about business. She obeyed the calling and she said, okay, let's do this. I trust and I have faith. And now, 5 years down the road, we have Revelation 22. Amen. Give me a round of applause. Okay. So, would you all like to listen to a story? Yes? Would you all like to listen to a story? Yes. Okay, introducing to you a really passionate entrepreneur, a really pious Christian, and an awesome mother, Mrs. Veronica Ong.
That's my awesome son. Now today our celebration is centered around my daughter. My daughter, I just want to share about her story and inspire you that she also respond to a calling. For me, I respond to a calling to start this business. But for her, she's responding to an even higher calling to be married to Jesus. Okay, let me share with you how we all started. Now, when she was in Catholic Junior College, she got straight A's, all right? And most of the time, in primary school, in secondary school, she just went to those ordinary primary school, neighborhood school, and secondary school, she went to Chongqing High School. But when she went to Catholic Junior College, she's got straight A's. And when we had a prophecy, the prophecy, there was this art that is drawn right in our office. It was drawn in the year 2006 when I was still working with Salvation Army. Now this art is a prophetic art. It is not ordinary art. It was drawn using a wooden broomstick, using white paint and blue paint. Now this art, there are two pieces. It is called ... is God's. There's a name given to this piece of art. It is called ... is God's. That means every dot belongs to God. All right? And also the Lord told me, this piece of art is priceless. You can't even put a price tag on it. Don't throw it away. So it was drawn on a cardboard. You know a cardboard, corrugated cardboard. And after drawing, I was still working with Salvation Army at that time. I just rolled it up, put it in the storeroom, and it kept there for 5 years. It was only during our second anniversary, Rev 22 second anniversary, then there was there's a vision for me that in the morning I woke up, the Lord told me, go and frame up that piece of art. And so I went to frame up. Then I realized that this piece of art is actually for this business, Revelation 22. And at that time, when this art was drawn in 2006, the prophecy came for me to leave Salvation Army. So at that time, I was the breadwinner of the company. I was a breadwinner at home. My husband is there, yeah? Now, he was taking care of the 3 children. That's why they are all so well brought up, all so talented in their own way, because the father was at home taking care of them, yeah? So what happened was, I was a breadwinner, and they were all in secondary school. Then I asked the Lord, how can I leave Salvation Army? Who is going to take care of the children? Who is going to bring the bacon home? Then the Lord said, I will make sure all your 3 children finish their tertiary education. So in faith, I came out in 2008. And it was also a prophecy that Amelia will get a scholarship. At that time, she was only in secondary school, yeah? The prophecy says Amelia will get a scholarship. Wow! I mean, it never come to my mind. She never scored straight A's. How can she get scholarship? She's not from Raffles School. She's not from Hwa Chong. She's not from those high-end school, you know. It doesn't make sense at that time, you know. And then eventually, we will have a place. That was when I was still in Salvation Army. The prophecy came. You will have a place where people don't take medicine, no supplement, only drink water. That's why we have our Energia water there. Only drink water to clean up your system, all right? And also eventually everybody has perfect eyesight. So with this faith, I came out from Salvation Army in 2008. Now, the miracle. In 2013, when Amelia got straight A's, the first thing she did was to apply for scholarship, because that was a prophecy, right? It makes sense, right? So to apply for scholarship. So she applied with SMU, NTU, NUS, and she wanted to do accounting, so she applied with KPMG. You know KPMG? Accounting Auditing Company, huh? Now, all the university and KPMG invited her for an interview. Only SMU and KPMG invited her to go for second interview. So KPMG sent her a letter of regret, you know, an email of regret that she was not being selected. But if she wants to go for internship, she can go KPMG, no need to go for interview anymore. SMU, no news. But her friends all received news that they got their scholarship. And then there's no news from SMU. So she started telling me, Mommy, I don't think so I get my scholarship. I said, okay, Lord, no scholarship, then what to do? Use my CPF to pay for your study. So, and then what happened? I received an invitation card from SMU. It was an open house, SMU open house. And it was on the 13th of May. 13th of May 2013. It was a Mother's Day on a Sunday. So I received the invitation card and I told Amelia, let's go to SMU. After all the university, nobody invite mother. So since this one invite, then we go. Then she said, what? No. She said, no, so boring. I go so many tea party already. Okay, you want to go, I go with you. So what happened was we went to SMU. There was so many spread of food. No, every corner was long buffet of food with so much of drinks. She did not even drink 1 cup of water. She went around asking all the lecturers she know, is Dean Ong around? Is Dean Ong around today? And she went around asking. Then most of the lecturers said, I don't think so, Dean Ong is coming. Dean Ong was the one who interviewed her when she went for the scholarship interview. And then she was disappointed. She did not even have a cup of drink. I followed her without a cup of drink also. We went into the auditorium. It was empty because all the parents were busy talking to the lecturer. And we sat on the 3rd row, right near the entrance there. And immediately after she sat down, Dean Ong sat right in front of her on the 2nd row. And then you know what she did? She went to tap on his shoulder. Professor, is the scholarship confirmed? Then the professor looked back. Which school are you from? I'm from Catholic Junior College. Is the scholarship confirmed? Then he looked back. How many children do you have? I said, oh, she got 2 more siblings. Then she asked again, is the scholarship confirmed? then the professor took out her name card. You email to me tonight. So took out the name card. And what happened? That day was a Sunday, Mother's Day. I did not go for Mass yet. It was the whole program started, it finished at 5:30 p.m. So at 5:30 I went to church. OLPS church at Siglap. I went there, I kneeled down in front of Jesus. Jesus, you promised me Amelia will get a scholarship. Go and touch the heart of Ding On now and give her the scholarship. Then I went to Mother Mary. Mother Mary, you pray for me. You make sure she get her scholarship. Because that's the prophecy. You told me she will get a scholarship. So you go and touch the heart of Dean Ong now and give her the scholarship. So, and then I went back home. Then she asked me, hey, how to email to Dean Ong? I said, you just email now. You know, you're from which school, and when you went for interview, what's your interview number, send. So Monday, no response. Tuesday, no response. Wednesday, the admin staff called her up. Dean Ong wants to interview you. Wow! I didn't know, she didn't tell me, she quietly went for interview. After she went for interview, the next day, she was presented with a double degree scholarship on her birthday, 17th of May, 2013. She was presented with a scholarship on her birthday. Perfect timing. Not too early, not too late. That was the best birthday present given to her. A double scholarship in business and in accountant. And you know what her admin staff told her? You are very lucky, you know. Do you know you are number one in the queue? You're more than 20 in the queue, you know. Nobody will give up scholarship when so many of them in front of you. You jump queue and you still get it. Amen? Hallelujah. So that's how the Lord is always faithful. When He prophesies, it will come true. Yeah. So just have faith and believe that He can do everything in His own time, in His own way, in His time, in His way. Okay, so this year I'm very blessed. In June, I went to visit her. She went to Poland. February, she went to Poland. And then in June, she finished her exam. I went to visit her in Poland. And when I went to Poland, I tell you, 15-day holiday. She scheduled everything for me. From Poland to Krakow, to Italy, to Milan, to I don't know where else. And then I visited 20 churches in 15 days. And that was at the airport. We met at Warsaw Airport, International Airport. We had our first meal at the Old Town in Warsaw. And then we also stayed in a convent. Yeah, we stayed in another convent in Poland, in Częstochowa. And then we went to visit Pope John Paul II, the sanctuary. It was up at the attic there. It was a very nice view. And we had a guided tour of the Black Madonna. Yeah. And then we went to the Colosseum. Now, when we went to the Colosseum, she just put my son, Alaric went with me. She just put both of us there, and then she went to visit more churches there. I tell you, she was falling in love with churches after churches when she went into Poland. All right. Then we went to Vatican, also the same thing. When she put us at Vatican, we went on a guided tour ourselves, and then she went to visit the sisters, the servant sisters at Italy there. She went to visit Sister Christine there, and have lunch with them. And that's my son. We went to Vatican City. Now, we also went to sightseeing, some of this sightseeing tour, and we have fun with some ice cream. And that's the the servant sisters in Italy. All right? Sister Christine and Sister what? Elisa. All right. Now, when I came back, that's where everything happened. Now, I came back in July. And then she told me, Mommy, I'm going to Spain. I said, oh, okay, very adventurous of you. Then she carried her backpack and she went on a walking pilgrimage. 6 days of walking pilgrimage. One day she walked 25 kilometers. One day 25 kilometers, and she walked for 6 days. And during this pilgrimage tour, after the tour, she went to stay in the convent. And that is the convent in Spain, where Sister Karen and Sister Kelly, they were there. So she went to stay in the convent because one of the sisters was having a final vow, and she went to witness that final vow. And when she went to the convent, that's where her calling starts. That's where her calling starts. So she was working with the convent, the sisters, and now she's also the president of the SMU, the Catholic community called Fides. That's why all the SMU students are so supportive that they are able to come and sing carol for her. All right. And will I miss her? What do you think? What do you think? Absolutely. Let's invite Amelia to share how she responds to even a higher calling to be able to marry to Jesus. Let's invite Amelia.
Okay, sorry. This whole thing is really a surprise. I didn't know she was doing all this stuff. And I didn't know she invited my friends who did the caroling because they're from SMU, the Catholic community. I just thought I just had to come to do my testimony and, leave after that. But she actually threw a whole party for me. Oh gosh. Okay, so, well, I'm supposed to talk about how I responded to my calling. So now I'm actually still in SMU. I'm a 4th year student, my final year in SMU. And, well, before I left my exchange, I had this prompting from God that I had to discern my vocation because I went for retreats and people always tell me, doing God's will is the best thing ever because He knows what's best for you. And I always ask myself, like, really? I thought I know better already. And my life seems okay already, and is God's will really the best for me? But I just said, okay, since I'm going on an exchange for 6 months, I will have so much time to really pray about my vocation and to discern my vocation. So when I was there in Poland, it's a very Catholic country, so 90% of them are Catholics. And I had so much of free time to pray, to do spiritual reading, to read about the saints, Mother Teresa, St. Augustine and everything. And I was helping out in the parishes, giving confirmation, leading the confirmation camps for the teens and everything. And going for Teze, prayer meets and everything. So I was a bit abnormal already in that sense because my other friends who went on exchange, they were partying away and they were, drinking and everything. But I didn't want to go for any of those. And eventually, God started changing the desires of my heart because somehow the things of the world just didn't matter to me anymore. I used to be a very materialistic girl, someone that was, want to get good grades, money, good career, good boyfriend and everything, rich, whatever. But somehow, during my exchange, God started changing the desires of my heart such that I didn't want anything of those, and everything I had to do everything that I wanted to do had to be revolved around God. If not, I just couldn't do it with joy, And so what happened was, it was during the Holy Week. So there's Maundy Thursday, Easter, Good Friday, Holy Saturday, and Easter Sunday. I told my friends, I want to go to Rome because I want to see the Pope Francis. I know he will come out to celebrate Mass during Easter Sunday. And all my friends were saying, no, we don't want to go to Rome during the Holy Week because it's going to be so crowded. And I said, yeah, that's the point because that's why I want to go there, to be in the midst of the other Catholics, and that's the Rome is where the heart of our church is. So only one of my friends said okay, and that's Jeremy, the one that played the keyboard just now. So he was the one that said okay, let's go. And so just two of us, we went. And on the first day there, when we arrived in Rome, it was a Thursday, Maundy Thursday. So both of us, we attended Mass and in St. Peter's Basilica. And after the Mass, Jeremy spotted this really young nun behind me, and he told me, hey, look behind you, there's a really young nun. And I turned back, I was like, oh my gosh. And because she looked really young in a white habit and everything. And in my mind, I had this urge to go and talk to her. So I turned back and I asked her, hi, do you speak English? And she said, yes. And I said, are you a nun? And she said, yes. And I said, how old are you? And she said, 23. And I'm like, oh my goodness. In my mind, I was just like, gosh, that's just 1 year older than me. I'm 22 this year. And, I was discerning my vocation, whether marriage life is for me or religious life is for me. But I think at that point in time, I was not open to the fact that God could be calling me to religious life. I was not open to that. So at that time, the sisters there in Rome, they were leading this Holy Week encounter for American girls. So they invited me over to the encounter. And I had a really good time contemplating on the Lord's Passion, on Good Friday. And we attended Mass on Easter Sunday with the Pope. And the sisters could translate all the Italian and Latin stuff for us. So that was really nice. And after that, so I thought that was it. After that, I left. After 4 days, I left Rome, and I thought that was it. I had a really good time with the sisters, and okay, bye. But before I left for Rome, before I left to the next place, the sisters told me that she'll be renewing her vows in Spain. And she said, it would be nice if you can witness our vows, in Spain. And I said, yeah, it would be nice, but why would I fly to Spain just to watch you witness your vows? And I just met you, So she said, yeah, you never know, and it's quite cheap to fly in Europe and everything. So I said, yeah, okay, well, we'll see. And then, so should I talk about RCC where I lost? Yes, okay. Is there time?
You've got plenty of time.
Oh, okay, but I think I don't want them to get bored. Okay, I'll try to keep it short. Well, okay, so after Rome, we left for Assisi, which is where St. Francis of Assisi and St. Clare of Assisi, they grew up there. They are saints, And St. Clare of Assisi is my confirmation saint, and I just got confirmed 2 years ago. So for me, I really wanted to go there to get to know my saint better. And I read that her body is still in the Basilica of St. Clare, even though she died like 800 years ago. It's still preserved and it's incorruptible, because only a very, very small percentage of bodies are incorruptible, like the saints, the popes, and everything. So I really wanted to go there, and I told Jeremy, like, hey, I want to go to Assisi, and he was like, but what has it got to do with me? Because I told him I want to go there to visit my saint, and then he said, but I don't want to, because that whole place is very religious. Like, nobody goes there for like touristy stuff. But he was very nice, so he said, okay, let's go. So we went there, and we read about the lives of St. Francis and St. Clare. So they came from a really wealthy family. But eventually they decided that, they received a calling from God to serve Him in a life of poverty and chastity and obedience. And they really just dropped everything they had and followed God. And they started the Franciscan orders. So I remember when I was in the Basilica of St. Clare, where St. Clare's body is, I knelt down and I prayed to her and I asked her, St. Clare, I don't know how you do it, but teach me how to appreciate living a life of poverty, because I may not be very rich or anything, but I do have certain attachments that I'm not even willing to give up. And I don't know how you did it, So what happened was we just spent one day in Assisi, and the next day we went to Florence. And that very day, the next day, Jeremy and I were having a snack in the snack bar, and my entire sling bag got stolen in the restaurant. I lost my passport, I lost my DSLR camera, I lost my wallets, and so on and so forth. I was really stripped off of everything. And the funny thing was, until today we have no idea how it got stolen, because we were always at any one point in time, both of us were definitely, either one of us will be taking care of the bag, But the funny thing, when I look back, I wasn't hysterical, or I wasn't crying or anything when I lost so much. I really lost everything that I had. And the first thing that came to my mind was, St. Clare, why do you take me so seriously? Because yes, the day before I did pray for that, teach me how to appreciate living a life of poverty. Yeah. But the funny thing was that I wasn't really like too anxious about it. The main thing was to get a new passport and everything. So fast forward, when I went back to Rome, when I went back to Poland after this whole Italy adventure, it was 2 weeks long, I realized that I became more open to religious vocation, and I asked God, if you want me to be truly open, you have to expose me to more nuns, because over here in Singapore, we hardly get to be exposed. You don't really see nuns around, walking on the streets. I don't really know any nuns also, and I wasn't attracted to their kind of life because I couldn't see the beauty in the vocation. So I said, if you want, you just have to expose me to more nuns. So I went to Google like convents in Warsaw. Then I saw a whole list of them, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna approach any of them. And what happened was that particular Sunday, honestly, God started sending nuns to me. I didn't have to look for them. That particular Sunday after Mass, one of the parishioners came up to me and asked me, hey, why don't you come and join us in our our potluck lunch. We have it once a month and everything. And I said, no, I have to go to do my grocery shopping. And she was like, no, but it's such a pity because it's only once a month and everything. So I said, okay, let's go. And the next moment, I realized we were going to a convent, a Franciscan Missionaries of Mary convent for the lunch. So when I went there, I was like, oh God, you are really humorous, because I did pray about it, and ask him to send me nuns. And here I was with so many other nuns. And I got to know the nuns, and they would always invite me for evening prayers, for supper, and always talk to me about my discernment and everything, because things started to get a bit unclear to me, because my desires were changing so rapidly that I couldn't understand why was I going through all this. It's not normal. So subsequently also, I got to meet other different orders, and that was when I started to get exposed to religious life, and I started to see the beauty in it. But still, I think I wasn't really open yet. And yeah, 2 weeks after I returned to Poland, the sisters from Rome, because I met the sisters in Rome, right? And so they emailed me, "Hi Amelia, how are you doing? We just wanted to let you know that we are going to lead, the sisters in Spain are going to lead this Way of St. James. It's a walking pilgrimage, whereby St. James, during the last few years of his life, he walked in Spain to evangelize. So most of the pilgrims, they go there to kind of commemorate and to kind of live in his spirit of evangelization. So the sister was telling me that it will be a really good experience for you to go for it, and if you were to extend your stay for about 2 days, you can actually witness the vows, my vows, and the other sisters' vows also that I was talking about. And I said, yeah, that sounds like a plan, and at least there's more of a reason for me to go to Spain now, not just to go to witness your vows, But I told her, but the thing is, I lost my passport, and I don't know if I can go there, because without a passport, I cannot fly to another country. So she said, don't worry, if it's really God's will, I'm sure he will find a solution for you. So by faith, I just booked my tickets to Spain the next day, and without having any certainty of whether I will get my passport in time. Yeah, and true enough, I got my passport 2 weeks before the pilgrimage happened. And it was just in time for my family to come to Poland and to Italy to visit me also. So I took them around for 2 weeks. And 3 days after they left, I was already headed to Spain already. And so the plan was to go for the walking pilgrimage for 6 days and then stay in the convent for 2 days. And I also planned a These retreat, a 1-week retreat to discern my vocation, because I had some friends that went for this These retreat, and they told me it's really good to discern your vocation. So I planned out everything already. And what happened was, in Spain, after the pilgrimage, when I was staying in a convent with the sisters, I was so overwhelmed, because there was about 70 of us sisters that were in the convent, and all of them, they spoke Spanish and everything, but they were also excited to see me. Like, they were all like, "Hi, where are you from? I've never seen you before, And I said, "I'm from Singapore." "Where's Singapore? Is that in China?" And I said, "No, it's not. It's in Asia, but we're not in China." And they were also amused that I could speak English, and like that my Chinese is not so good and everything. And they were asking me, how do you meet the sisters, and how was the Way of St. James for you and everything. And every single sister that spoke to me never failed to ask me this particular question, which was, "Do you have a devotion to Our Lady?" And I said, "No, honestly, I don't really know much about Mother Mary, because I just pray to Jesus, and that works for me for the past few years." And they were speaking about Mother Mary with so much joy, and they shared so much about her life that I started to realize, like, this is true. Like, what's missing in my faith? Because I'm a Catholic, but do I know much about Mother Mary? I don't think I know much about Mother Mary. And because of them, I started to know more about how she's so pure. She was the first disciple of Jesus, and she followed him throughout his entire 33 years of his life, until the very last day when he was crucified. She was at the foot of the cross, and she never said no to Jesus. She was always like, yes, yes, yes. And that day, when in the convent, it was also the feast of the perpetual virginity of Mother Mary, which is a very big feast for Mother Mary because she was a virgin before her birth, during her birth of Jesus, and also after the birth. So it's really like a miracle, that this happened. And on that feast day, I prayed to Mother Mary. I said, I'm supposed to leave for France tomorrow for the retreat, but show me what does God want me to do, because I feel like I need to be here, but at the same time I've already booked my tickets to other places, and I don't know if I should leave, and show me the way, lead me to what God wants for me. And at that very moment, I knew the answer. I had to continue staying in a convent. Until when, I don't know, but I just knew that I shouldn't go to France, because if I had gone there, I would always feel this void in my heart, like, gosh, why am I here? I should be there. So I said, okay, I'm just going to forfeit my tickets and just stay in the convent. And so I ended up staying there for 5 weeks, I think, 4 or 5 weeks. And I had even planned out other trips already, to Croatia, to Medjugorje, to Hungary, and I booked all my accommodation, everything already, but gosh, this is much more important. So I just forfeited everything and stayed in the convent. And I think it was like 2 weeks later, after staying in the convent, the moment I was there, I already knew something is so right over here. I don't know why. Everybody speaks Spanish, everybody is non-Asian, and I'm the only Chinese and everything, but somehow I just felt so drawn to them, and they always brought me to Jesus and Mother Mary, and I just felt like I was one of them really. And so I entered the convent on the 16th of July, which is the feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, who is the patroness of the Carmelites. And
Before that, what did Jesus tell you?
Okay, so I told you like how I knew I had to be there already, but every single morning I would still pray about it, and I asked, really, is this really for me? Because I may feel attracted to this, but this is a lifelong vocation, and I had to be really sure about whether it's really God's will for me. And this is a convent in Spain, it's not like a convent in Singapore where I can still meet my family and everything. But there was one particular morning during adoration, because every morning we have 1 hour of adoration, so I was praying in front of the Blessed Sacrament where Jesus is truly present, body, blood, soul, and divinity. And I asked him, Lord, here I am. What do you want me to do? By then, I had already became so open already, because I think through the pilgrimage and through the stay in the convent, I learned to die to myself, my attachments, my vanity, my pride, my all sorts of things, everything. I had to die to myself every single day, and I reached a certain point where I was so much more open and liberated that I could ask God, okay, what do you want? Here I am. And he told me, there was this voice in my heart. I wouldn't say it's a voice, but I knew it was from him. He said, I want you to be mine, all mine, wholly mine, totally mine. And that just means to be a nun. And so I said, okay, but where and when? Because where in terms of which congregation, is it somewhere in Singapore or the Franciscans or whatever? And when? Is it going to be now, 1 year later when I finish my university, or maybe 5 years down the road? Maybe you want me to work first or something. And in terms of where, it was very clear already. I just knew it was here. But in terms of when, it wasn't very clear. So I was thinking, I knew I had to enter. I kind of knew like I had to enter immediately. But at the same time, there were physical constraints that wouldn't really allow me to enter immediately also, because I had to complete my studies. And at that point in time, I couldn't bear to leave my family also. So these were the two things. Every other thing in the world just didn't matter to me anymore. Yeah, but I told the Lord, like, how? I cannot let go of these two things now. And so I continued to pray about it, and I spoke to the Mother Superior about it, and I told her, I feel like I mean, they already knew. I think from the beginning, they already knew I was going to enter sooner or later. They just didn't want to tell me. They waited for me to tell them, and I said, I had to tell them, I think I have a vocation with you. And they said, Priya, we know that. So when I told her, I think I have a vocation with you and with the sisters, but I said, I don't know when I should enter. I feel like I need to enter now, but at the same time, I still have 1 year of university and, I cannot let go of my family yet. And I told her, even if I were to let go of my university, I still have a scholarship bond, As in, not say a bond, but a university bond, because it's a 4-year course. So if I were to terminate my studies at that point in time, I would have to pay back the past 3 years of whatever I've benefited from. So the Mother Superior looked at me and she said, oh no, before that, when I had this idea I had this idea that maybe I can enter immediately, but, as a candidate in Singapore. And then I thought to myself, but there's no community in Singapore. The sisters are in Spain, Italy, South America, and Florida. Nothing in Asia, nothing in Singapore. Like, who's gonna, watch over me and, journey with me? So I said, I don't think they will allow me to do that anyways. But the Mother Superior told me, look, I think the best decision for you is to enter as a candidate now and go back to Singapore to complete your studies, and more importantly, to be a witness to God in Singapore. So while you are there for 1 year. And I looked at her and I said, you mean that's possible? And she said, yeah, it's possible. I mean, they don't really encourage this for candidates, but she looked at me and she said, I think you are quite firm in your vocation, as in, as long as you stay faithful to the sacraments, you attend your daily masses, pray the rosary daily, do your spiritual reading and everything, you'll be fine, So I just entered on 16th of July. And ever since then, now I'm back in Singapore. I arrived on 1st of August, went through 1 semester of studies this couple of months. So now tonight I'll be heading back to Spain with the sisters, and we'll be spending Christmas together and New Year's together, and then on the 5th of January I'll be back in Singapore again to complete my final semester in SMU, and then I'll be back to Spain for good. Until God wants.
Thank you. My beloved daughter. Now, this icon, do you know that she was being handpicked, divinely handpicked, to be the icon for Energia? When I arranged for a model, it was already pre-arranged for a photographer to go to Chinatown to have the photo shoot, and I already arranged for a model. Now, on that day, when the photographer arrived, the model did not arrive. The model played me out. So the model did not arrive, and happened Amelia was at Chinatown. Normally she go to school, but that day she was in Chinatown. So I said, Amelia, photographer is here, can you help me? If I pre-arrange with her, she will say, no. I know her very well, cannot ask her one. But because it's divinely arranged, that's why she said, okay, Lord, since the photographer here. So she went to change into her pink long sleeve shirt that she happened to have it in Chinatown also. And then that's how the whole Energia picture come about. And she was being handpicked, divinely handpicked to be the icon for Energia, so that, God already know what is ahead, what has been planned ahead. And for me, it's like every day I get to see her pictures. So even if she's in Spain, every day at least all my pillows are her pictures. So in fact, when she go to Spain, she's praying for everybody who are using our pillow, who are using our socks, who are using our eye mask, who are using whatever product. They are all divinely blessed. Amen? Hallelujah. Now, this Zen is also divinely handpicked. All right. Now, when we first started to have our first shipment in January 2012, I totally have no idea how to pack the pillow, how to brand the pillow, how to call the pillow, how to design the pillow. Nothing. I have no idea. My first shipment is coming in January. Only in December, I met him at 313. 313, there's a Vietnamese restaurant. And over at the restaurant there's this Thanksgiving dinner. So he was sitting next to me. He was sitting next to me and he showed me his iPad. I'm the person behind National Day Parade. All the concept, I was helping them for don't know how many years. I said, you so good. Then you help me because my first shipment coming in January. Can you help me or not? He said, I can help you. I go Chinatown and see. Then after that, he take all the before picture. Wow, the whole place is like a Karanguni place. Like a Karanguni place. Don't know how to display nicely. The cabinet don't know how to display nicely. And he transformed our Chinatown to become more consumer taste. And then he designed this Energia first. This Energia logo was designed by Zen. Now, for a few years, he was busy himself, I was busy myself. He was doing his own thing, I was doing my own thing, and we did not really engage each other, okay? Until just maybe about 1.5 months ago, he suddenly popped into my office at Oxley Biz Hub. And then I said, how are you doing? He said, well, I'm doing very well now. It's lots of God's blessing, and now my business is growing. I'm partnering with this, I'm partnering with that, so many people. So I said, okay, I'm actually doing rebranding, There's this company that I engaged, he's helping us to do rebranding. But I had problem with the tagline, This tagline, from day one, just cannot make sense to anybody. When we first started, I told Zen, hey Zen, Energia must have a tagline. I said, how are you going to design a first brochure from a blank page, from a blank piece of paper? How are you going to come up with a design for the first brochure? I told him, why not you use a pillow? Tonight you go and sleep on the pillow. After he slept that first night, 7:30 morning he wake up. He said, Veron, I know your tagline is endless sleep. I said endless sleep cannot, that means don't wake up. So I said cannot use this, endless sleep. He said, I never sleep so well before. Now I will know how to design your brochure already. So he started our first brochure because of his experience. He actually expressed his experience into a brochure, and that's how creative he is. And then our first tagline was, we perfect your sleep. That was our first tagline. And then along the way, there was an Australian consultant came into my office at Chinatown at that time. And then he came into my office, he said, Veronica, your pillow is not just for sleep. Your pillow is for your blood cell, is for your immune system. You use We Perfect Your Sleep, you only narrow down your business. So why not? In fact, the River of Life is very good. So, okay, it makes sense to me because it helps in immune system, it helps in so many other things. So I said, okay, in that case, we change the tagline to the River of Life. Then we were using it for a while. Even at the shopping mall, we were using the River of Life. And then another company came along. Another company said, hey, the River of Life, only Christian can associate with it. No. What about those people who are non-Christian? They don't know what is River of Life. They see the river flowing. But what is this River of Life? Then we brainstorm again. Then we came up with another tagline, recharge. I said, hey, very good recharge, Night time you sleep, you recharge. Every day you recharge your battery, Your handphone always go flat, right? So you need to recharge your battery. So your body also need to recharge. So for a while, we were using this recharge. Until Eddie came on board. Eddie, who walked into my office, he said, Veronica, what is your unique selling point? I said, my unique selling point. In fact, for so many years, it is about the blood cell. It is about improving the blood cell. He said your unique selling point is about the blood cell. How can you use your tagline as recharge? If you use your tagline as recharge, any company can come up with a pillow and can copy you anytime. But your unique selling point is your past track record, that you have done so many blood analyses. That is something that nobody can copy you. So that's how we came up with energy flow, good blood flow. That is our unique selling point. So this is the tagline for Energia, and that's how we are going to launch it today. And our icon is our Amelia, who is handpicked, divinely handpicked. Okay, now the next speaker is very interesting as well. I think you all look forward to listen to him as well. Now, he's no other than another divinely handpicked person to grace our event, our official opening in September 2010. Now, I first started the business in Adelphi, all right? I was at Adelphi on the 7th of June 2010. And the first week of the business, the first person who used our product was a person called Veronica. All right, Veronica Ng. She benefited her product in 5 days, and she invited me to go and be her neighbor at Chinatown. And that's how I shifted to Chinatown in a short 2 months. And when I shifted to Chinatown on the 4th of August, the Lord told me, have an official opening. Again, through a prophecy. My husband can prophesy at that time. So, through a prophecy, go and have an official opening. So what happened? I look at the calendar. Now, it only makes sense to organize events on a Saturday, right? Who is so free to attend your event on a weekday? So I look at the calendar, 25th of September 2010. Official opening, Revelation 22. Now at that time, I have no friends who are in the business. My friends are what? The nurses, the old people, the childcare center, the volunteers who work with me. All these are my database. So I start to text everybody, come for my official opening on the 25th of September. And then the prophecy came. Your number is 22. How can you organize on 25th? Then I said, but 22 is a Wednesday. No, who is so free to come? 22 what time? Then he said 10 o'clock in the morning. What? At this evening, people still got time to come. 22 on a Wednesday, September 22nd, on a Wednesday, 10 o'clock in the morning. Then the Lord said, whoever needs it will come. Whoever don't need it is noise. So don't want the noise. So in faith, I went to print the invitation card, 2,000 invitation card. I went to hand deliver to everybody I know. Everybody I know, where are these people? The Salvation Army head office. I came here to deliver invitation card like my wedding day like that, no. Every department I go, you come. I went to Peace Haven, I went to Grace Haven, I went to Haven, I went to all the Salvation Army, the different social services. Invite everybody to come. On that day, Wednesday, 10 a.m., 80 people came. 80 people came for the official opening. Hallelujah. Amen. So that was how we officiated the opening. And we had a guest of honor on that day. And that guest of honor was divinely handpicked. Divinely handpicked by the Lord. I actually, because when I was in Salvation Army, I organized many national events for old people. The first event I organized was a intergenerational sports day for elderly. I actually went to rent a Tua Payoh indoor stadium where all the elderly, 7 centers, they compete in tele-matches, they compete in games, they compete in dramas. And then that year we have Mr. Chan Su Seng was our guest of honor. Second year we had beauty pageant. The beauty pageant we had Dr. Balaji, our guest of honor. And third year we had Amazing Race, Island-wide treasure hunt, where all the elderly and the childcare center children, the youth, the volunteer, all in one van, they went on the island-wide treasure hunt. And the last year, I organized a beach party. All right? Now, when I was in Salvation Army, I was only an employee, and yet I put so much effort to organize such big events, national event. What about my own business? Hey, this is my own company. This is my own official opening. So I also must have guest of honor lah. Where to find guest of honor? So I wrote to the founder of Bi Cheng Hiang. He was my landlord, and they rejected me. Then I went to invite Gerard E. You know Gerard E? Third age, He said that on that day he got meeting. Then I invited CEO of South Foundation, Dr. Marian Sao. Dr. Marian Sao, she said on that day, 10 o'clock, she's flying off to New York. Then I invited my church priest. My church priest was in Germany. There was a special event in Germany. Then I invited president of colorectal cancer support group, and her name was Dincy. So when I invited her, I emailed to her, she was in America. When she was in America, she replied me that 21st of September, she's coming back to Singapore. I say, hallelujah, my event on 22nd, so you are handpicked to be the guest of honor for me. So everything was all arranged nicely. Next Wednesday was my event. Today Monday, I received an email from her. I got no air ticket to come back. No air ticket? Then how? So I said, I really no idea. So I told the Lord, if you are sitting on this throne of the company, you handpick, I surrender. I just told the Lord, I surrender. You handpick. The moment I surrendered to him on a Monday evening, I was at Mei Zhen Xiang downstairs. And you know that street is called Mall Street. I was crossing the road. I ordered mee hoon kueh, you know. Last time there was one store selling mee hoon kueh. I was queuing up. I saw pastor walk past. Now, this pastor, he ministered to our elderly for 5 years when in Salvation Army. And he speak Mandarin, he speak Teochew. My elderly loves him very much. Every Wednesday, whether rain or shine, he would travel from Jurong to Bedok to minister to our elderly. Never fail. But for 5 years, he disappeared. He went to theology college, he went to set up his own church, totally lost contact. But that evening, I suddenly saw him walk past. He was talking to a group of people, and at that time, I did not call him, it was drizzling a bit. Then after eating, I was crossing over to Salvation, to Mei Zhen Xiang side. I was waiting for my husband to pick me up. Again, pastor walked past right in front of me. Along Mei Zhen Xiang there, no, walked past right in front of me. Again, I didn't call him. Then it was very, very strange. How come today I see pastor twice? Okay, never mind. So Tuesday came, Wednesday came. Now, when I was in Adelphi, I only have 340 square feet. The floor area, very small. I can only put 3 beds. Then when I went to Chinatown, it's 1,400 square feet. 1,400 square feet, I can put 6 beds, you know. But it's not in the shopping mall. Who is going to know I got a shop upstairs? Who is going to know what business I'm doing upstairs? Well, my stress level was very high. My stress level at that time was very high. And then when Tuesday came, Wednesday came, then I asked myself, how come downstairs, 3rd floor, how come they're always so noisy? What business are they doing? Why they can invite so many people to their place? I also must learn from them, right? And downstairs happened to be Easy Pharmax. It's an MLM company. And every time they rah-rah there, I got a lot of OPP and all that. So I went downstairs, and on a Thursday evening, they have OPP there. They invited about 70, 80 people. So I said, oh, okay, I must go and learn from them. So I went down. So after I went down, one of my friends called me. Hey, Veron, your shop upstairs. Later I come and visit you. I said, okay, his name was James. So we went for our OPP. Then I was looking at the speaker. I said, oh, I also want to learn from him. How he can speak to so many people, Then after that, after 9:30 p.m., I brought him upstairs. And then I show him, oh, this is reception area, this is therapy area, this is my office. Then I have a microscope in my office. I asked him, why not you let me check your blood? Then he said, check my blood. Okay, poke him once. Put under the microscope. My screen totally blank, can't see blood cell, nothing. And my microscope was new. I started business only in June. It's only 2 months old. And then I poke him a second time. Put under microscope, again blank. I poke him a third time. Again blank. I can't see any blood cell. Then because I poke him 3 times, poor thing. Then I said, where do you stay? Then he said, Ang Mo Kio. I stay at Bedok. I never take MRT from Chinatown. Then I said, how are you going back? He said, Chinatown MRT. I said, okay, I follow you. At the escalator, perfect timing, I met Pastor. Let's welcome Pastor Lee.